Hello there, you're watching Midday News with me, Aishwarya Kapoor, and these are the headlines. Congress MPs protest in Rajya Sabha over Prime Minister Narendra Modi's remarks against former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. House proceedings disrupted twice. Chairman adjourns the House till 2 p.m. Prime Minister asks the BJP MPs to strengthen party at the grassroots level ahead of 2019 general elections. Tells the BJP parliamentary party meeting there is a need to include youth for better development. US Senate clears a tax reform bill paving way for the first overhaul of US tax code in more than 30 years. New plan to benefit multinational corporations. And after Test and ODI series wins, India to play Sri Lanka in the opening encounter of the three-match 2020 series in Cuttack today. Match at 7 p.m. First up, news from Parliament. There were protests in the Rajya Sabha today by Congress MPs over Prime Minister Narendra Modi's remarks against former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. Now, no sooner had the listed papers been tabled, Congress members were up on their feet demanding an explanation from the Prime Minister on his remarks against Singh. The chairman of the Rajya Sabha, M. Venkaiah Naidu, disallowed them. At this point, Congress members rushed to the well of the House, shouting slogans. Despite repeated appeals when the MPs did not return to their seats, the chairman adjourned the House till 12 noon. After the House resumed, the protests continued and the chairman adjourned the House then till 2 p.m.
I have not given permission for suspension of the question hour. Nothing shall go on record. I have not given permission for the suspension of the question. It is only with my consent that the question hour can be suspended. Please don't unnecessarily waste your time. No statement is made in this house. So there is no practice of suspending the question hour. Please go back to your seats. Don't make a mockery of the house. Already wrong message is going. The house is adjourned to meet at 2 p.m. in the afternoon.
All right, my colleague Kriti Mishra is now joining us live for more details. Kriti, now everyone was hoping for some semblance of order after the chair's suggestion for an amicable solution yesterday. But sadly, the disruptions are continuing in the House over allegations made by Prime Minister Narendra Modi against Manmohan Singh.
Well, absolutely, Aishwarya. Opposition Congress, the protest that they carried out in the upper house today that forced adjournments of the proceedings of the House. The members rushed into the well and also resorted to sloganeering. The chairman, however, urged the members to allow the House to function. He said that this kind of scene sends a very wrong message to the nation, and he also said that this also belittles the dignity of the House and also of the members. He reminded the members that members had pledged to uphold the dignity, sanctity and supremacy of Parliament, and this kind of noisy scene does not augur well for the House. He also said that several members had questions to ask from the ministers. He said that the agitating members cannot seize the rights of the other members. He also said that a lot of money has been spent for the question hour. He kept on making fervent appeals for the members to allow the question hour to function. But certainly that all went in vain because first the 0 hour became the casualty and then the question hour became the casualty. However, the chairman clearly gave a message that Prime Minister did not make any statement on the floor of the House. So it doesn't make any sense to raise this issue in Rajya Sabha. Aishwarya?
Well, thank you so much, Kriti, for all those updates on Rajya Sabha. And it was not only in Rajya Sabha, but also in Lok Sabha, which was adjourned until noon within a few minutes after it assembled today, as the Congress members continued their protest against the comments made by Prime Minister Narendra Modi against former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. Now, as soon as the Speaker Sumitra Mahajan took up the question hour, Congress leaders raised the issue of remarks made against Singh during the Gujarat election campaign. As Congress members assembled in the well and started to raise slogans, Mahajan adjourned the proceedings till noon The Prime Minister was present in the House as questions related to the PMO are listed today. And after the House assembled again at noon, it was soon adjourned till 2 p.m. over the same issue. And let's get more details from Ravindra Singh Shoran, who's also joining us live from Parliament. Ravindra, it was a very important discussion going on in the lower house this morning on requisitioning and acquisition of immovable property amendment bill. But sadly, slogans by the Congress MPs are continuing to disrupt the proceedings.
Yeah, good afternoon, Rashwari. As soon as the proceeding of the House commenced today in the morning at 11 o'clock, the leaders of the Congress party, the members of parliament, they start raising slogans against the Prime Minister and asking him to apologize for the remarks he made during the election speech in Gujarat Assembly elections. Though they have been raising this demand for last couple of days, but the demand has been turned down by the Speaker today also, and she requested them to go back on the seat. But when they failed to go back to their seat, then the House was adjourned after a couple of minutes when it started. Later at noon, when the House resumes its functioning, again the Congress party members start raising the slogans. But in the meanwhile, during the slogans raising, the Speaker allowed the BJD leader Bhartrihari Mehtab, who has given a adjournment motion, to speak, and he said, and he has a issue to raise regarding the, he accused the government of reneges on the promise which the government made on the floor of both the houses regarding the formation of the Mahanadi Tribunal, which is a bone of contention between the two states, the water dispute between Chhattisgarh and Odisha. And the floor was given to him, has requested that the government should come ahead and form a tribunal should be formed on this issue, so that and also if the Speaker is not in this position to allow the adjournment motion, then the calling attention motion should be allowed, and all the three important parties, including the Odisha, the Chhattisgarh and the union government, should be allowed to ventilate their views on this issue. This is a very important issue which is raised by Bhartrihari Mehtab, followed by two more members who could raise their issue in the 0 hour. One of them, Poonam Mahajan, she raised the issue of the political motivated murders which has been carried out in different states, including Kerala, Karnataka and Jammu Kashmir. And Kripal Tumane, who is a member of parliament from Ramtek, Maharashtra constituency, he has also raised issues of their local constituency, the problems of the constituency. Now, a lot of three main important bills are yet to come in the House after the lunch. But what is going to happen, what will unfold in the House is yet to see.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ravindra, for all those updates from Parliament. So Congress members are continuing to disrupt our Parliament over the issue of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's remarks on former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. And on to news on the recently concluded assembly elections. Deliberations have begun in the BJP over naming the chief ministers for Gujarat and Himachal Pradesh. Now, BJP's parliamentary party met early this morning today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi dedicated the victory in the two states to the people of the country. He asked the party MPs to continue working for the people with more dedication. The Prime Minister also said that the young people must be included to ensure better development. BJP President Amit Shah also thanked the people of both the states for voting the party in power. The party has already named central observers for the two states. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley and BJP's General Secretary Saroj Pandey are the observers for Gujarat, while Union Ministers Nirmala Sitharaman and Narendra Singh Tomar are the observers for the state of Himachal Pradesh.
त्याग और परिश्रम यही मंत्र लेकर के आगे बढ़ना होगा और ये सभी जीत के बावजूद 2019 के चुनाव को मद्देनजर रखते हुए हमारे रूट्स को मजबूत करना होगा.
And my colleague Panchanan is now joining us for more details. Panchanan, now BJP parliamentarians met for the first time today after the election victories in Gujarat and Himachal Pradesh. And we understand that Prime Minister Narendra Modi was very emotional today and he was also given a standing ovation.
Absolutely. This was the first meeting after this Gujarat and Himachal election. And usually this meeting happens on Tuesday, but Prime Minister was in Kerala and different southern states for this cyclone Oki. So this meeting happened today. And the Prime Minister was welcomed in this meeting for this landslide victory in both the states. and he was welcomed, and also he was many MPs greeted him also. And Party President Amit Shah and Prime Minister Narendra Modi also addressed the gathering where all the MPs were there. And it was lauded the practice of Amit Shah in the Gujarat, especially in the Gujarat election. And Prime Minister also, he emotional in several occasions also while remembering the contribution of other leaders. And also he said that at a crucial juncture when some of the leaders left the party, it was the leadership of the Gujarat who retained this victory, and also this good victory for the BJP.
Yes.
It was overall it's a praiseworthy moment for the Prime Minister and Party President Amit Shah.
Absolutely, but Panchanan, also Prime Minister warned his colleagues against any complacency.
Exactly. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that all the MPs and all the ministers have to work hard for the upcoming not only elections but also for the welfare of the people. And he said that spread the plans and the schemes of the government among the common man. And it should be the agenda for all the MPs and party leaders to spread the agenda, not only agenda, but the programs of the government among the people.
Absolutely.
Aishwarya.
Thank you so much, Panchanan, for all those details there. So congratulatory moment really for the BJP, but the Prime Minister also warning his colleagues against any complacency. Meanwhile, the BJP leaders today staged a protest in Parliament premises today, demanding a tribunal to resolve the Mahanadi River water dispute between Odisha and Chhattisgarh. BJP leaders were protesting since Monday for the Mahanadi River Tribunal. They are also demanding an adjournment motion on the issue in Parliament as well. And the Congress is holding a review meeting to analyze its election results in Gujarat. The three-day review meeting is being held in Ahmedabad. The party, remember, backed 77 seats in the 182-seat Gujarat Assembly. The three-day introspection meeting will see district president, party candidates as well as leaders analysing the party's performance. Congress President Rahul Gandhi is also likely to attend the meeting on the last day of the meet, that is on 22nd of December. The party is expected to analyse why it failed to win the state that has been ruled by the BJP for 22 long years. The BJP won the state for the 6th time in a row, bagging 99 seats. And in midday news, we'll take a very short break. We'll be back with more news. Stay with us.
Art arisen from a multi-hued cultural canvas. Tradition and cultural fervour dating back centuries. And inside them all, there's a magic that awes. Embrace your nation's brilliant human warmth. Watch Colours of India, Sundays at 9:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha television.
One of the most influential revolutionaries of Indian freedom struggle, Shaheed Bhagat Singh. Born into a Sikh family, patriotism flowed in his blood at the age of 13. When he formed Naujawan Bharat Sabha to spread the message of revolution in Punjab. In the wake of avenging Lala Lajpat Rai's death, Bhagat Singh and his associates coined the catchphrase Inqilab Zindabad. But towards the end of their rebellion, they had to pay a heavy price for their patriotism. Following the blasts inside the corridors of the assembly, both Bhagat Singh and Batukeshwar Dutt courted arrest. Bhagat Singh was sent to the gallows in Lahore with his fellow comrades, after which he was cremated in Hussainiwala on the banks of Satluj.
Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. A salute to diversity. Promoting public discourse. Events that motivate. Inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries.
Welcome back after the break. President Ramnath Kovind on Tuesday has said that Telugu has been a language of learning and wisdom, of protest and liberty, of national pride and universal values. The president was speaking at the closing ceremony of the World Telugu Conference held in Hyderabad. He recalled the contributions made by eminent Telugu people from different walks of life to Indian literature, economy and polity, besides the development of Telugu language. Kovind described Telugu language as a bridge between north and southern parts of the country. The 5-day-long World Telugu Conference witnessed 16,000 delegates from 42 countries participating in 100 conferences and 20 cultural programs. Over 250 books were also released during the event. And here is a quick look at what else is making news across the country in Nationwide. After serving a 6-month jail sentence, a former Calcutta High Court Judge Justice C.N. Kannan was released from jail today. Kannan was arrested in June. Afterwards, he was charged with contempt for accusing 20 judges of corruption without providing any evidence. Delhi's Patiala House Court granted bail to former Air Marshal Jaspal Singh Gujral in connection with the Augusta Westland chopper bribery scam. Gujral was granted bail on a bond of 2 lakh rupees. Gujral, who was the IAF procurement chief in 2005, was reportedly part of the meeting where the issue regarding a change in technical specification of the choppers was purportedly discussed. The Goa bench of the Bombay High Court has dismissed former Tehelka editor Tarun Tejpal's plea to discharge him of rape charges. The court has also dismissed his request to discard the trial. Tejpal had moved the Panaji branch of the Bombay High Court, challenging the framing of charges against him by the trial court. National Green Tribunal Chairperson Justice Swatandra Kumar retired from the post on a 5-year tenure. His successor is yet to be appointed. His recent order, capping the number of pilgrims at Vaishno Devi to 50,000 per day, and his direction to maintain silence at Amarnath triggered protests from various quarters. In an eco-friendly measure to cut power consumption, the Indian Railways said that it has planned to make all stations 10% LED lit by March next year. It is a huge initiative to provide energy-efficient lighting, which will eventually greatly help in the conservation of environment as well. On to some international news, and the US Senate has approved the final version of the first overhaul of the US tax code in more than 30 years. The bill passed 51 to 48 with the final result announced by Vice President Mike Pence, who presided over the vote. The House of Representatives had passed the bill earlier on Tuesday, but technical changes were made to it in the Senate. It will now go back to the House for a re-vote today, where it is expected to pass again. After that, the bill goes to the President to be signed. This win in the Senate is the most significant legislative victory of 2017 for US President Donald Trump and congressional Republicans. Among the big gainers due to the bill are multinational corporations. Under current law, corporations face a range of tax rates starting at 15% and rising to 35% on taxable income over $10 million. The new plan creates a single 21% corporate rate effective in 2018. The US Senate passed the biggest in history tax cut and reform bill. This has been the tweet. Terrible individual mandate Obamacare repealed goes to the House tomorrow morning for final vote. This is President Donald Trump tweeting. And Bangladesh and Myanmar on Tuesday set up a joint working group to oversee the repatriation of Rohingya Muslims. The two nations formed a joint working group and also signed an agreement detailing the terms of its mandate to begin the repatriation of Rohingya refugees. Now, Bangladesh's Foreign Ministry representative Mohammad Shahid Haq and his counterpart from Myanmar, Yumin Thu, inked the agreement to create the joint working group, which will comprise of 15 representatives from both the countries. Under the agreement signed in Dhaka, the working group is to develop procedures to begin the voluntary return, resettlement and reintegration of Rohingya refugees. The two countries agreed last month that the repatriation process would start around 21st of January, but the officials said that it would be delayed by a few weeks. News from the Middle East: and rebels in Yemen fired a ballistic missile at Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia, for the second time in 2 months. Around midday, a large boom startled many in Riyadh, with the people running outside to see a puff of grey smoke in the sky and black smoke rising from a ground nearby. Saudi authorities said that the missile had been intercepted and that there were no casualties. The Houthis also acknowledged firing the missile, but said that the target had been a palace of King Salman, the Saudi monarch. The attack came hours before King Salman was to lead a ceremony to announce the kingdom's 2018 budget. The Saudis are at the front of a coalition that has been waging a bombing campaign in Yemen for 2.5 years against the rebels known as the Houthis. Saudi Arabia has accused Iran of backing the Houthis with weapons and expertise. The US has also expressed concern at the recent development.
Houthi militants in Yemen have fired yet another missile into Saudi Arabia. According to the Houthis themselves, it was targeted at a meeting of Saudi leaders in Riyadh, in an area crowded with government offices. Thankfully, the missile was intercepted before it could hit its intended target. But the very fact of this attack is a flashing red siren for this council. While we don't yet have sufficient insight into this particular attack, it bears all the hallmarks of previous attacks using Iranian-provided weapons. It is only a matter of time before one of these missiles hits the target.
On to all the sporting action now. The opening encounter of the 3-match T20 series between India and Sri Lanka will be played in Cuttack today. India will be led by Rohit Sharma, while Thisara Pereira will captain the visiting team. The match will begin at 7 in the evening. The hosts will be aiming to extend their dominance in the shortest format as well after clinching the Test series and the One-Day International Series. Earlier, India had defeated Sri Lanka by 8 wickets in the third and the final ODI, and India settled the One-Day International Series 2-1 against Sri Lanka.
Normally in T20s, we have to good start and continue the score and build the pressure to then. Hopefully, we think about 150 plus. It's the main target for us. From selection part and from captain side, I think I have to give more confidence to our young players. So I don't think about they have pressure situation, so they have to give their 100%. I hopefully, personally, I know they are good mindset and they can come very strongly.
I think he's a very, very good talent. He's sharp, he goes a big ball. He's somebody who can execute his yorkers very consistently, and that's probably one of his biggest strengths. And he's somebody who has a good slow ball as well. So he has all the ammunition required to play the T20 format, and I'm sure he'll do really well.
Good news from the world of football. India under-15 women's side scored 5 goals in each half to beat Nepal 10-0 at the ongoing SAF under-15 women's championship being held in Dhaka. Priyanka Devi and Sunita Munda scored hat-tricks. Linda Combe opened the scoring in the 4th minute for India and found the net again in less than 30 minutes. India continued the brilliant run in the second half as well, with Priyanka getting her second goal in the 53rd minute before Sunita found the net in the 62nd minute. Anabai became the 5th Indian goal scorer with her strike in the 69th minute. Priyanka finally scored again in the 76th minute and completed her hat-trick before Sunita rounded off the scoreline with a goal in the 86th minute. India will now face Bangladesh on 21st of December in their final group encounter. And that's all in the edition of Midday News. Thanks for watching.